and I couldn't do. So I'm super excited.
People were really doubting you after looking at your record?
Yeah, people say I haven't had the toughest opponents, but I mean, if you look at anyone on the regional scene, they don't have the toughest opponents either. People are saying I can't go 3 rounds. I proved that I don't necessarily have to, but I do train in Denver, and I can go 3 rounds with anybody in the world. So I'm just excited to be here, excited to do what I did, and yeah, that's it.
And I'm sure for your UFC debut, getting a first-round finish is ideally what you would want. Anybody would want that. So this question may sound weird, but you said people were doubting that you can go 3 rounds. Is there a part of you that wants to prove that at some point? Maybe not right away, but...
Hey, I don't want to fight 3 rounds, but I know that there's people in the world that can push me to go 3 rounds. So I'll keep taking the first rounders. I'll try to finish in the first round always, but I just want people to know I'm going to stick around that whole fight, the whole 15 minutes.
Is there somebody that you're looking at maybe in the top 15 that you feel like would push you to 3 rounds? Or
Man, at 145, any of those guys in the top 15, they're dogs. They're tough. So not any specific person. I'm still young, so those guys will definitely push me. I'm still young in the sport. But once I get 2-3 years from now and a little more experience under my belt, I think I can do the same thing to people in the top 15, you know.
And I know you weren't in there very long, but did you have any thoughts on your opponent or any of that moments before your finish?
Like during the fight? He was doing a really good job keeping my posture down. You could tell he did his research on kind of my ground and pound. I didn't really try to pass in the first round to a different position like I do most of my fights. I was content holding guard. I could feel him getting more tired than me. I could hear his breathing. So I just wanted to keep punching him in his body, look for shots when I could find him. And then Coach Montoya told me to stop punching and use my elbows. And I'm probably elbow one of the hardest in the division. You know, when I elbow, it sounds like gunshots going off, especially at practice on the bag. So when I do it to a live body, it's bad.
And I know you made a little bit of a plea for that $50K bonus. Can you tell us what you would use that for exactly, what it would mean for your life?
Yeah, so right now I live in an RV. I actually live right outside Factory X in Denver, so I live right there. Also, I want to have a family. I've always wanted to be a dad, and so that's a big thing for me. I had my full SIN deal when I got signed, not turn out, and you know I've been surfing around just trying to make ends meet while I'm training full time. So that 50 G's would change my life around and make my life drastically better.
And who would you like to fight next, or when would you like to fight next?
I would like to fight November, December. I don't have a specific opponent in mind, but anyone at the bottom of the division, any of the newer guys coming up, I'd like to fight them, get some more experience, and then we'll keep moving up the rankings.
Is that Dan Argueta fight something you'd like, or are you past that?
Oh, I mean, I would take that fight. I know he's sticking around at 35. We might try to go 35. It's just a big cut for me, and I've been cutting weight since I was like 8 years old. So like, if I can fight at 45, I can stick around here, and then probably when I break in the top 15, we might look at going 135.
What were you doing at 8 years old that you were cutting weight?
I was wrestling on the national scene. We were traveling every weekend ever since I was a little kid. My grandpa would take me to Georgia, California, everywhere, Florida. It didn't matter. We were somewhere else every weekend. He's the only reason that I've got this far. He's like my mom, my dad, my grandpa, my first coach, everything. So it was hard not having him here tonight, but I know he's watching back in Kansas City, and I just hope I made him proud.
Thank you.
Isaac, over here.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that great performance. What message did you think that performance sent out to the rest of the 45ers?
It showed that everything that I've done up to this point hasn't been a fluke. It hasn't been a joke. I'm here. I'm ready to fight the best in the world, and I am one of the best in the world.
And obviously, the Dan Argueta fight was just mentioned. It was supposed to take place in January. That's when your debut was supposed to happen. How have these past couple of months been? Have you been anxious at all knowing that your debut was supposed to be a couple of months ago?
I haven't really been anxious about that. That time passed. So I was just really preparing for this new fight, training at a new camp and everything. And honestly, I think this fight was tougher than the Dan Argueta fight. I think Francis Marshall's a better grappler overall. You know, he's a tough kid. He's strong as hell. And I think he's better overall. So this fight was a little more, how do I say, it was a little more nerve-wracking for me than the other one, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Isaac, are you ready to eat or go fishing?
I'm ready to go fishing and then eat.
You gave a shout out to the Burn Factory podcast that they helped you throughout the fight camp. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, man. So I was actually super excited they got to come. They weren't even supposed to be able to make it. These guys, at one point I had like $280 in my bank account before this fight, and these guys helped me out a ton financially. And then not only that, they've been there supporting me like every week. They're messaging me, asking me how I'm doing, asking how my camp's going. You know, we're just talking about where I went this weekend, where I was camping, da-da-da-da-da. It just kept going on. They're good kids, you can tell just by talking to them. So I'm excited to go actually meet them for the first time, not when I'm walking out of the cage. So that's what I'm going to go do here in a minute, go chop it up with them and just get to know them a little better. They're a big part of where I am today, and I'm super happy to have them in my life.
Well, you can let them know their platform looks great. It's professional. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Lastly, you did get the RV, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I take it you, the two Huskies, and Alexa are in that RV?
Oh, yeah. It gets rowdy. It's hairy and rowdy.
How do you keep it clean?
Well, she does a big part in that. She helps me out a ton, especially when I was in this fight camp. You know, normally I'm getting stuff done, but when I was training as hard as I was preparing for this fight, I didn't have a lot of energy when I get done training. So she did a big part in that, just cooking my food, cleaning, making sure everything was set for me to perform tonight. So she did a big thing in that. And the dogs, you know, they're rowdy. They like to fight. They get hair everywhere. You can imagine two Huskies in the summertime fighting each other. So lots of vacuuming. I bought a Kirby vacuum a long time ago, and that's a lifesaver.
No, not a Dyson. The Kirby works.
Yeah, not a Dyson.
Congratulations. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Thank you, brother.